You're joining us here at Villa Park for That's Not News, episode 5.
We're going to be talking this lovely lot, Raheem Sterling and Liverpool.
But first, roll the titles. Yeah, we're here at Villa Park. I'm joined by Dan, as always, who is in his absolute element, sat here in a box at Villa Park. Enjoying yourself already?
Living the dream, mate.
We'll get straight into it. Obviously, we'll talk about Aston Villa because that's where we are. But first, I want to talk about Liverpool. Well, I don't actually want to talk about Liverpool. Dan wants to talk about Liverpool. So Dan texted me yesterday to tell me that he wanted to talk about Liverpool and the Premier League as a whole. Because I just don't think he's very happy about them being. He's still very bitter about Liverpool beating Villa. So Dan, hit me with your thoughts.
Okay, so I'm going to make a statement here, Joe, and then you're going to react to that statement based on your opinions. I'm going to say it, lay down some facts to go along with it, and then you can react to it if that's okay. So Liverpool are not only the best team in the Premier League right now, they are potentially the greatest Premier League side that we've ever seen. And this Premier League team in a two-legged fixture would beat not just Pep Guardiola's Manchester City, but Pep Guardiola's peak Barcelona side.
Okay.
I'm going to lay this down. So Liverpool won 20 of their last 21 appearances, 29 unbeaten, haven't lost in 46 at home, one defeat in 51 at Anfield. Last defeat at their home turf was April 2017. They've never lost with Fabinho in the side. So if we compare this to Barcelona, so their best unbeaten run under Pep was 28 games in all comps, which is one less than Liverpool had just done in that game against Manchester City. 23 wins and 5 draws overall. Pep's best ever league finish saw Liverpool finish 1 point better off last season when they didn't even win the league. Discuss.
Okay, so what you're telling me is you think that this Liverpool team is one of the best footballing teams ever to have existed on this earth?
Yes. I think what makes
just to stop, Cameron Finn is not happy with that thing.
No, so it's really fair. That Cameron Finn, one of the new recruits of Dawson Football, he's been there before. He's pretty inconsistent. He's a Man City fan. Absolutely devastated with the loss the other day. But we'll come on to that as a separate entity.
Okay, so I don't disagree that they're the best team in the Premier League. I don't disagree that they're probably the best team on this planet at the moment. I do disagree that I don't think that peak Pep Guardiola Barcelona would go to Anfield and lose.
Can anyone win at Anfield at the moment?
Yeah, peak Pep Guardiola Barcelona. No. You see, Liverpool fans will go to Anfield on a game by game basis and go, we're not going to lose this game, which is absolutely fantastic. But we keep coming back to it. The peak Pep Guardiola Barcelona was an absolute monster.
Yeah.
It was football that we haven't really seen before. So I don't even. If it was the brand new football, if they went in with a new style football into Anfield, Liverpool couldn't deal with it. I think it's a different monster that they'd have to attack.
Well, I think what makes this Liverpool side so great is what Klopp does with how he develops players and what he elevates them to is just exceptional. I think if you look at the team for what they were before they joined Liverpool, so think of Virgil van Dijk at Southampton, think of Gini Wijnaldum at Newcastle, Sadio Mane at Southampton. That front three of Mane, Firmino and Salah, wind it back 4 years, and if someone tells you in like less than 5 years' time that would be a Champions League winning, potentially the best front three of football, one of the best front threes football I've ever seen, you would have laughed. But that's the kind of influence, I think that's just the character of Klopp and what he puts on his side. And I absolutely love it. I think the way that they get behind their side, I love that there's no big superstar egos in that side because of where they've come from. And I think under their lights, especially on European nights, which is why I said 2 legs, because in a one-off final, not sure, but I think over 2 legs, bringing it back to Anfield especially, those European nights are magic. I don't think there's a team in world football right now that can beat Liverpool at Anfield under the lights. I really don't. And I would actually go as far as say I don't think there's many teams in history that would just be able to cope with the Georgian press, the rock and roll football. It's, for me, I was watching it in that Man City game and I was blown away.
But you also text me to say you think that the Premier League won't allow a team to win the league 3 years in a row, which is why Liverpool look to be the entity that they are.
Yeah. So, come back to me in 3 years' time, ladies and gentlemen, when the Premier League is being stormed, the HQ is being stormed by the CSI, the FBI, everyone's coming over, and it's a bit like FIFA, the set letters, because it's a secret. Okay. But when it's happening, come back to this, because the Premier League is a fix, Jack Dawson. VAR is a technique that has been implemented to match fix games in plain sight. That is my opinion. I think this is Man City's unofficial punishment for breaking FFP rules. I fundamentally believe this is their punishment. You can buy all the players that you like and you won't win it all. They fear a situation whereby they turn into a Bundesliga, Liga and Serie A type league, which doesn't attract, rivalries are what attracts the money. That's what attracts the big TV to it. People want to see title races going down to the wire, just like we had last season. And with Liverpool starting to creep ahead, 9-point gap now, it's not what the big Premier League execs want, because that's not, everyone's going to be tuning into La Liga, or the external fans anyway, because that's where the title race is at this season. They don't want that. Salah was offside.
Okay.
Trent, that's an obvious handball from Trent.
No, I disagree with that. I don't think it is. In half a second, your reaction isn't going to be to be able to go like that.
Have you seen those given?
Yeah, but
have you seen
and
them?
I disagree with them when they are given.
I'm not saying I agree with. I don't think it's in the laws of football. I don't think that should be a handball. But in the laws that we currently play in Premier League football, we see those given. I don't think it's any coincidence.
Do you think it would have been given if it was Fernandinho in Manchester City box?
Yes.
Finn already said that.
See, I've got support already. Basically, I am the bell ringer here, mate. I am alerting you all first and foremost, and this is what Dawson Football is all about.
This gets us the views.
Investigative journalism. I think there is an element of that. I do think there is something with the fact that we didn't get a replay of the Salah goal, the fact that they didn't draw lines up. We saw how long they took on Lundstrom's goal for. When Lundstrom was called offside for Sheffield United at Spurs the other day. It took 4 minutes, that VAR decision, 4 minutes. They were drawing the lines and realigning them, and it took absolutely ages. And the check for the Salah goal was done in, I think, just over 20. And it was just as marginal. And that isn't a coincidence, in my opinion. I think that there is a clear bias there. And the Premier League have got a worry whereby Liverpool are starting to run away with it. I think the decisions are so infrequent and there is so much confusion. I think it relates back mostly to the confusion around handball. I think for years they've failed as a football association to clear up key confusion within the game, like the handball rule. And I just think it leads to this kind of really confused state whereby the rules of football are so unknown. I don't think the referees really know them, to be honest with you.
So the definition of a handball: it is usually an offence if a player touches the ball with their hand/arm when the hand/arm has made their body unnaturally bigger, the hand/arm is above or beyond their shoulder level, unless the player deliberately plays the ball, which then touches their hand/arm. So if a player kicks a ball at someone's hand/arm, same with the episode, it's a handball. And if it's in an unnaturally bigger position, Trent's arm is basically there. Okay? He's not done this. He's not put his hands up. It's
I think the problem is with football is that the rules differ depending on what area of the pitch it is. So we see fouls given as penalties that would not be given on the halfway line. Such is the nature and the importance of different parts of the pitch that we see the rules differ in different situations. I think handball is the same. I think if that's on the halfway line, I think it's given. I think because it's in the box, because of obviously there's a penalty in the early nature of the game, especially in front of the Kop end. apparently the cops out there.
It's the whole.
That was interesting. Especially from the cop end, I think the referee has bottled it. To be quite honest with you,
some bold statements coming out of you today.
Yeah, absolutely. And I do think the Premier League is slightly biased with Liverpool winning the league this season.
Okay.
I do think Salah was offside for the goal.
But Liverpool have also played 10 times better than Man City, I think, a lot of the games. E.g. Man City went away to Norwich and lost. Are you blaming the Premier League on that?
No, I'm saying that
was
Norwich times. I watched Liverpool score in the 95th minute down there. How many times have we seen Liverpool penalties given late on? Soft decisions. Pep called Mane out on it the other day. I just think people need to be more switched on to this being a possibility, in my opinion, because this happened in the Serie A in the mid-2000s. This is why Juve famously got relegated to the Serie D for match fixing. It's not impossible to do this. And for an institution which holds so much money and so much power and so much football is a corrupt game as it is. Let's be honest. You know what the recent incidents at FIFA and UEFA in recent years and the World Cup. There is a World Cup in Qatar coming up, and no one can tell me that.
Have you seen the thing about just on a side note, the 2022 Champions League final in New York?
Yeah.
European Champions League final being played in New York.
That's an interesting topic, yeah. And maybe that's because I think I've got quite a controversial opinion, whereby I wouldn't mind that.
Carry on.
That's next week then.
We'll talk about that
and yeah, I just think football. There's so much money in football. I think we're bound to kind of approach scenarios where, like this one, and I think VAR and inconsistency and the general confusion about the rules of football enables the Premier League to have a little bit of leeway. And I'm not saying it's outright blatant match fixing, but I think there is favouritism towards Liverpool this year.
You really think that the chiefs of the Premier League would be that silly, especially after everything that went on? Does money talk? Is that what it is?
Football keeps making these mistakes, mate. There is so much corruption in football. People don't seem to learn from the people that came before them. I would actually argue that such is the money in football nowadays, and such is the payday for potentially having another big TV deal like Sky, that keeping the Premier League as competitive as possible and changing the winners up as frequently as possible is so important to them that I think it would appeal.
Coming back onto Liverpool, just as an entity in themselves, obviously we're coming up to the Christmas period.
Mm-hmm.
There'll be more of us before the Christmas period to talk about the Christmas period itself. Yeah. This isn't the last one. But Liverpool themselves have got Brighton at home so they've got Crystal Palace after the international break, then Brighton at home, then the Merseyside derby, then Bournemouth, Watford. There's nothing really there that you look at and think, Liverpool might stumble. The only team that they've stumbled against this season is Man United away, which is a weird one because they're not really the best team in the league.
Well, can Liverpool go and beat them?
Are they going to be the Invincibles?
Well,
a second coming.
I can't see the only team that is capable of beating them is Manchester City.
I also disagree with that statement because I think on May the 9th, which is quite close to the end of the season, the second to last, the penultimate game, Chelsea goes to Anfield, and I genuinely think a Frank Lampard team that is on its A game with that youthful, energetic, raw desire to win, I think that could topple Liverpool.
There were teams that are cool. I think Leicester, obviously, what you also have to look at in this. Leicester are very capable, especially with the King Power. But look what they just did to Manchester City. That they made mincemeat of them all over the park. Man City were second best to everything. And as soon as Fabinho absolutely leathered that one in,
some strike.
Absolutely.
It wasn't quite Sam Lucas who scored from the half. Well, it was Stoke won 4-2.
Look at this. Look at the joy that this man brings. We'll be at Stoke.
December sometime.
In December sometime. If you think I'm excited to be here, just wait until you see this boy at the Claret and Blue 65. He's going to be absolutely buzzing. And yes, Sam Chris's goal was a good one. We'll give that the screen time that it deserves.
Thank you.
But also to you, Fabinho, fantastic goal. And as soon as that went in, I thought that was game over. I just think the intensity of Liverpool and the belief that they have in themselves so now is so grand. Leicester at the King Power would be a real test, and I do completely agree that Stamford Bridge is probably the
Boxing Day.
next place is hard to next hardest place to go. Yeah, but yeah, I just this Liverpool.
I'm just sorry. You genuinely just look at the fixtures and think they're going to win that. They're going to win that. They're going to win that.
Oh, well, this is my point, is that I can't... So yeah, Chelsea will give them a test, and I think so, but especially if that's the penultimate game of the season, they could quite happily sit that one out and see it out for a draw. And I don't think Chelsea would be too displeased about coming away from Anfield with a point either. And I think that the fact that they have got that... They haven't had their strongest team for a lot of the season. Lovren's had to come in because Matip's been injured. Joe Gomez hasn't really picked up his form. I also want to make the point that I tweeted out earlier in the week that I think Trent Alexander-Arnold is one of the best playmakers in the world right now. The way that he gets...
You just plugging your Twitter?
Yeah, Wiseman football with the vowels, so it's just like kind of like Dawson football but better.
Just check out Twitter.
And the way that Trent gets up that line and gets involved with players, I think the amount of creativity that they have, and I love the way that the fullbacks take the role off the midfield, and the midfield is so lucid and free, and they have such engines in there. I think that tactically, and the way that the players believe in the project and they believe in Klopp, just helps them become an invincible force.
And we can't talk about Liverpool without talking about this EFL Cup, Super Cup clash.
Obviously a good place to talk about it.
Yes, so the EFL Cup on December the 17th,
yeah.
They travel here to play you lot.
Mm-hmm.
You're expecting under 12s?
Yes, hopefully. I'm expecting a semi-final out there a couple of weeks after, it would be nice.
And then obviously they go. How has that happened? How do respective organisations and footballing bodies not talk to each other about that kind of thing? Because it really isn't okay.
No, it's not. So they've got 2 games in 2 continents in 24 hours. It's ludicrous, really. The FA have said that they won't budge, and for Liverpool, the Club World Cup, I think is decided to take a priority because it's a competition that they've never won. It's a competition which obviously is in another part of the world, so it increases the brand of the image of Liverpool in that region. There's lots of different aspects of it, which potentially make it more important to Liverpool than the Carabao Cup. If anything's important to this Liverpool team this season, it's not the League Cup.
And so important to you then?
Yeah, well, it is. This is my point. Is that for Villa, it presents a great opportunity to get to a semi-final first season, to then get knocked out by Manchester City. So it's a good opportunity to get ourselves into that position where we can fall at the final hurdle instead of falling 2 hurdles before.
I'm not talking to you if that happens because you'll just be
don't even. So Liverpool will send 2 different squads to the 2 different games. Klopp and his assistant will go to one. I believe they're literally going to flip a coin and see which one they go to.
You imagine Klopp will end up?
Yeah, I think he will be over in Asia.
Yeah.
But yeah, Liverpool the thing is with Liverpool, and this is one of the points I actually wanted to make, is that even the games that they try and lose, they still win. They tried to lose at home to Arsenal in the last round of the Carabao Cup. No one can tell me otherwise. Look at the lineup they put out. They conceded 5 goals and then went to penalties and still won. That's how that side is.
Arsenal really is just not.
No, as we talked about last week.
That went live today.
Yeah,
but not today. Not your today. It's our today. It's not your today. It's different today.
So anyway, you guys can watch it. We spoke about Emery and obviously the problems that came there, and yeah, that thing how bad that Arsenal side is, and they desperately tried to lose to that. They put I think there was the 3rd choice goalkeeper. I think Curtis Jones was in midfield. There was a lot of youth in that side, and they still managed to scrape through. So so I think to round off this section, Liverpool are the best team that the Premier League's ever seen. They could beat Pep Guardiola's Barcelona side, but only because of match fixing.
Excellent. If you just want to take a look at Dan's face of the show, no? Okay. What a headshot! So Dan, we've moved outside to your heaven, I suppose it is.
Look at it, guys. Look at it. Isn't it beautiful?
It's not that great.
It is.
Let's talk about Villa. Let's talk about what they do on that pitch on a weekly basis. How you? I don't even care if it's Premier League. So
yeah.
How you doing?
Mixed, to be honest with you, mate. 17th currently in the Premier League. 2 points above the relegation zone. It's looking a bit uncomfortable, to be honest with you. are a very good side and we're capable of staying up. There are definitely 3 teams worse than us in the Premier League, but the thing is, Watford, Newcastle and Norwich. I think you can also put I don't think you can lose 9-0 in a season like Southampton did and stay in the Premier League.
No, absolutely not.
I don't think that's probable.
I agree with that one.
So I think you can. I know Newcastle just won 3 games. They're actually our next game out there after the international break. Games don't come much bigger than that, especially with Brucey bringing his side back to Villa Park. So that's huge. But there's just a few cases of tactical naivety. Dean is obviously, just like a lot of the players are, new from the Championship, has to take time to learn the Premier League. He's taking time to do that. We've squandered too many points from winning positions, which doesn't help. But if we can iron a few issues out, I think we'll be more than alright.
Okay, so you obviously made quite a lot of signings in the summer. Wesley, the big striker, the new Benteke. Tom Heaton is probably the one that I'd like to talk about, because you almost gave us 25 million pounds for Jack Butland, and instead spent 8 million on Tom Heaton. How important is it to have a goalkeeper that just is dependable, is reliable?
Well, the thing is, I knew as soon as we signed him that you're just going to get consistency. You're going to get a goalkeeper that can show up week in, week out. But say won't make it. First game we had here at Villa Park, he gave away a penalty 30 seconds in against Bournemouth. That side, he's been great. England international, obviously. England was number 1. Like numerically, he has the number 1 shirt.
Oh, okay. No. I wonder what you were talking about then.
So he is technically England's number 1. I really like Tom. He hasn't quite grasped the concept of playing out from the back. His Burnley days are still very deeply embedded in him.
Sean Dyche will have that effect on you, to be fair.
Yeah, he will. You can see the ball comes back to him sometimes. The fullbacks go wide, the centre backs drop. And
it ends up all the way down there.
He sees Wesley and his eyes light up. He's like, Chris Wood, is that you? And the ball goes long. But no, he's a very good goalkeeper, very, very solid. I like him a lot. Great piece of business. And you referenced the Jack Butland fee, but we also did a very similar thing with Calvin Phillips. So 35 million was rumoured to have him as the base of our midfield, and we went and spent 11 on Marvellous Nakamba and 14 on Douglas Luiz.
Douglas Luiz is a fantastic bit of business.
And if you offered me those 2 players now over Calvin Phillips, I'll take them every single time. There is a buyback on Douglas's transfer, so I think this season it's 30 million and it goes up by 10 million every season if City do want to buy him back for a couple of years. So there are several clauses in that, but he's a player who Pep's wanted for a few seasons. He couldn't get a work permit over the line. Somehow we've managed to do that. He's been a great addition, and I think the signings have actually embedded him pretty well.
If you were in Dean Smith's position now, you come back from the international break, who is your 11 that you put out on that pitch?
So Tom has a starting goal. He's just withdrawn from the England squad through injury. This is so many new signings. So Matt Targett, Mings, Engels and Gilbert at right back. All new signings, obviously, because Mings was only a loan last season. You go the 3 of McGinn, Grealish and Marvellous Nakamba in midfield, with El Ghazi, Trezeguet and Wesley up front.
You won't let me go this whole episode without talking about Jack Grealish. How much do you love that man?
Everyone that comes down to this stadium, all 43,000 of us that pack this out every week, adores that man. He embodies everything that you want to see as a football fan. A lad, fan of the club, supported it. There's pictures of him standing on that very terrace as a child. He's come through, captain of our club, put us back in the Premier League. Should be in the England squad. Nominee for Premier League Player of the Month this season, has created more chances from open play than any player in the England squad this season in the Premier League. 3 more than Raheem Sterling, who's second. He is exactly what England need, and until he wins us the Euros next season, people won't realise that. He is the player that we don't have, that is hard to dispossess, that can pick up the ball in the second third and put it into the final third. I really like him. I actually think he'd fit really well with the likes of Sterling and Kane and Sancho. I really want to see him in the England squad. The last call-up wasn't right. This was the right time. He should have been in there over Fabian Delph. He should have been in there over Ross Barkley. He should have been in there over Callum Hudson-Odoi. He hasn't gotten in there. he has got a knock which might explain it, but I was disappointed not seeing him called up.
And another player that I know that you do really like is John McGinn.
Yeah.
How important has he been? I know he was important last season in the. He was important last season in the Championship, but this season he's come to the Premier League and he really has. He's stepped up his game to suit the level. How important is he in that midfield alongside creative players like Grealish? He's got a bit of grit and a bit of determination that maybe you might have lost in Glenn Whelan.
Yeah, no, you're absolutely right, mate. He is a really old-fashioned British midfielder. It's head down. He's not worried about. He's quite happy to let Jag have the limelight. You know, Jack's the good-looking one, the one captain out of the two of them. He's quite happy to let him have the limelight. But John McGinn's the best midfielder that in my life I've seen play for Villa.
Big statement.
He is exceptional. The 50 million rumoured fee to Manchester United is probably exaggerated and definitely too soon. But he's brilliant. We bought him for just under 2.5 million from Hibernian last season, and his transfer fee is probably 20 times higher than that now, something like that. And so yeah, he's absolutely the way that he uses his body and his intelligence to drive Villa up the pitch. He's got a fantastic rate of passes. The goal that he scored against Sheffield Wednesday last season,
that was
just
the volley.
down there, didn't even get a nomination for the Puskas Award, which I didn't understand. It was brilliant. I love John McGinn. I love Aston Villa.
You do love Aston Villa.
And
how great is it that we've been given this opportunity?
Yeah, I just want to say thanks to everyone at the club. This is brilliant. So thank you to everyone for letting us film here. It's a great opportunity. Great view of what is one of English football's most traditional stadia. And
the first
your
Premier
first
League
visit.
It is, and it's the first Premier League club that we filmed at.
Yeah, Dawson Football, ladies and gentlemen, going up in the world. Obviously, we're at some other club in West Midlands.
Hey, we're a big club. Stoke City is a big club, ladies and gentlemen.
Soon. So we'll be visiting them pretty soon. Looking forward to that. But I think I'm actually going to get you out the cold now.
Yeah, we'll go back inside and we'll talk about Raheem Sterling, shall we? Let's go. Ooh, it is cold. So we're back in from outside the cold that is Villa Park, where Dan got very passionate. Let's talk about Raheem Sterling. Obviously yesterday as in yesterday for the filming day, not yesterday for the release day, yesterday being the 11th of November. Yesterday Raheem Sterling and Joe Gomez were reportedly split up in a team area at the England training camp, after Sunday's game where Joe Gomez basically picked Raheem Sterling up, basically threw him across to the side of the field. And there was an altercation.
Yeah.
First of all, shouldn't really be a place for that in the England squad. I know that you want your players to be competitive, but you don't really want that to happen in what we thought was such a harmonious squad.
First thing I've got to say is big man like Raz, right? Because what he has done is absolutely acceptable and absolutely justified. I think Joe Gomez is in the wrong. I think there's a time and a place. If you're walking, so what apparently has happened is Raheem Sterling walked into the canteen. Joe Gomez and a group of unidentified players laughed at him as he walked in. He's then gone up to Joe Gomez, asked if he's still the big man, and grabbed him by the throat. Now, Raheem Sterling is one of the most influential characters in world football at the moment. He's he's England's best player, without a doubt. Yeah. What's he supposed to do? Get his lunch, get laughed at, and go and sit down? No. He's going to stand up for himself because he's not. Mate, he's putting Ballon d'Or numbers up right now. He's on the top tier. He's had more goal involvements this season than Lionel Messi, 3 more. Would Lionel Messi take that? Would Lionel Messi have teammates at Argentina laugh at him?
Nobody would laugh at Lionel Messi.
Well,
he's Lionel Messi.
I don't think. I think Raheem Sterling has every right to be annoyed. I don't think he should go up and grab Joe Gomez by the throat. Not necessarily so, but he's got to defend himself in that situation. And I think again it's a testament to the character that we're seeing in Raheem Sterling. My
actual view on this is what has come after. Raheem Sterling has been very mature, very respectful about it all. He's obviously come out and made his statement whereby it says they've had a conversation, everything's kind of settled now. It's definitely a heat of the moment thing. Mm-hmm. But what also is outstanding really is from Jordan Henderson.
Yeah.
Who has who isn't in the England camp yet, hasn't arrived yet. Why Joe Gomez has and Jordan Henderson hasn't is a different topic, to be honest. But he's had them both on the phone, and he's told them to basically to get a grip. And that is definitely a sign of a Gareth Southgate England team now, isn't it?
Mm-hmm. Yeah, definitely. To be honest with you, I don't think this kind of competitiveness, this kind of aggression is a bad thing. I'm going to kind of relate it to another Liverpool-related incident that we saw at Turf Moor a few weeks back, whereby Mane showed clear anger at Salah for not passing the ball. I know it's slightly different, but footballers are so sanitised these days, and there is such a specific way that footballers are supposed to act on and off the field, and we kind of forget they're actually human, whereby just because they're a footballer and just because they have an image to protect still means that they're going to get wrapped off if one of their teammates is laughing at them because they lost or because someone said this. They're still human beings, they're still going to react like we do, and they're in very, very high pressure scenarios. And I think if you're a City fan, you'd be happy to see what Sterling's done, because he's standing up for your club there, mate. He clearly believes in that club, and he's clearly very proud of it, and he doesn't want to be mocked for it. It's clearly taken a toll on him that they're probably not going to win the Premier League this year, and that Liverpool have got this gap.
Do you think a little bit of it is it because it's Liverpool?
Yeah, definitely. I think that would account to a lot of it, to be honest with you. I think if Joe Gomez plays for another team, this doesn't happen, because, you know, like, at the end of the day, like, England players will come to clash with England players on the pitch because they play against them every week, and that might be a rough tackle or whatever, but they never spill into a training camp. And I think the unique situation that we're seeing between Liverpool and City here has contributed to a lot of that anger, and I think it's clearly starting to get to Sterling. It's clearly making Gomez feel a little bit big for his boots, because he's had a pretty poor season this season, by all accounts, so I don't think he's in a position to be mocking anyone. Look, Sterling's made a lot of mistakes in his career. You know, there's been, obviously, you know,
there's been plenty of front pages.
Yeah, some not his own fault, some of the fault of the media, but some, you know, there was a problem where I think he was caught smoking a shisha pipe. The kind of gun tattoo was an incident whereby I defend Raheem, and I don't think he's particularly done much wrong there, but you kind of look at it and think, you're not really helping yourself, are you, mate? You know, the media's all over you, and you go and tattoo an M16 on your shin. Maybe wait a couple of years until it's died down to have that particular tattoo. So there's been a few things which you can look at Sterling and say, yeah, maybe you didn't get that one right, mate. But this one, I think he's got to stand up to Joe Gomez in front of all of the England camp. I don't think many people in the world would just kind of be walked in, laughed, grab your lunch, sit down. Not for me.
We'll see when Sterling next beat Villa.
One of the questions I do... Wow, I could be waiting a while for that one.
Alright.
That's going to have to be it.
One of the questions you do have, go on. Goodness.
Raheem Sterling, mate. So, some stats for you.
Who do you think you are bringing out stats? I do the stats.
Well, last week you did, probably not this week.
Alright.
Raheem Sterling has scored more goals than any Premier League player across all competitions in 1920. That's 14, and has been directly involved in more in gold. Well, kind of, a lot of goals there. So I think that could start something. Directly involved in more Euro 2020 qualifying goals, 13, than any other England player. There was that long wait for international consistency, wasn't there? Just 4 goals between 2012 and 2019. So that's 7 years, he only managed to find the net 4 times. 2 of them came in 2014, so aside from that 1 year, he scored 2 goals for England in that period. This season, joint top goal scorer in the Champions League. Goals and assists in 2019, so combined 3 more than Messi. He's on 54, Raheem Sterling, which was astronomical. To give that some context, Aguero 41, Mbappe 43, Lewandowski 48. So has Gareth Southgate's management of this situation, where he just came out and confirmed what the tabloids have been saying, he's banished Sterling at least from the Montenegro game, has he handled that right? Is leaving out England's best player for such a crucial qualifying fixture the best way to deal with this?
I think maybe what Gareth Southgate has tried to do is to show that he's not going to accept any rubbish. But as you say, Raheem Sterling's one of the best in the world at the moment. I think he deserves a little bit more respect. Obviously, the rumours came out on social media and in the tabloids before it was confirmed. I think if you're going to confirm it, you've got to confirm it in a way that allows Sterling to be able to walk back into the England side and not feel uneasy. And I think he might feel a little bit uneasy that he's been, especially because he said that he's going to keep him in the England squad, he's going to keep him around the camp. is just going to not let him play in Thursday's game. And I don't really think that's a viable punishment for someone who's not really. It's nothing serious. He's not hitting.
No.
He's not caused any serious damage. But Southgate, I'll always back Gareth Southgate because I think he is one of the best England managers that we've certainly ever seen in terms of his man management, and that's part of the reason that we got to where we did last year. But he definitely, him and the FA have probably maybe gone about it the wrong way in terms of respecting, whilst I don't like it, respecting one of the biggest players, one of the biggest names in the world at the moment.
And so I mentioned all those goals and assists, and the tournament that's coming up next summer is a big one for Raheem and for England generally. With those numbers, mate, if he carries on, as you assume he will for the rest of the season, how well does he have to do in the Euros to win the Ballon d'Or? Because I think Ronaldo's out of the question now. He's declining. It's Messi who will decline. So it looks like his main opponent is going to be Virgil. Liverpool looks set to have a good season this season. That could potentially hinder him, which why I think the way that those two players then perform at the Euros could be so crucial.
Yeah.
What does Sterling have to do for the rest of the season and throughout the Euros to seriously put himself on that table where he can win a Ballon d'Or?
What you have got to think about with the Ballon d'Or is how long it took Messi and Ronaldo to get there. They had to have a good few seasons at the top of the game before either of them managed to get even in the reckoning. So whilst he had a good season last season, he started this season well. He has to be consistent. An international tournament isn't necessarily going to win him the Ballon d'Or unless he lights it up and is by far and away the best player there, which in an England side is tough to do in such a major tournament. But he'll be there for the Ballon d'Or. He'll be in and around the names. But like you say, Virgil van Dijk's been an absolute colossus at the back for Liverpool and has been absolutely lived up to his price tag and beyond.
Yeah, definitely.
There's other names that you've got to think about as well.
I think with the things with the Euros is that obviously with it being the Euros,
Messi won't get the exposure.
Exactly. Sterling and Van Dijk are the best players at that tournament.
Yeah.
I think you can argue. There's another outsider to the Ballon d'Or next year. We mentioned him, Lewan, who is just scoring for fun at the moment. Scored again at the weekend against Dortmund. So again, there's kind of these players whereby you look at and go, you know what? If you go away and have a good tournament in the summer, it could be really, really interesting next year.
What you've also got to think about is how corrupt UEFA and FIFA are. Kylian Mbappe is the love child of football at the moment. Everybody in the world loves Kylian Mbappe and thinks he's the best thing since sliced bread. So his name will also be there.
Absolutely.
Sterling's. I'd like an English player to win it. I would, but I just don't think it'll happen. No one likes England. Look at the Eurovision as well. No one likes England.
Raheem has, obviously come a long way in terms of the way that he's developed his identity and the way that he's seen by the British public. He was someone that has really taken a long time to get.
Do you know you can compare Raheem Sterling to? If there's a good comparison to do, it's him and Jesse Lingard and how different they've gone in their career paths. Raheem Sterling is without a doubt concentrating on developing his career, developing his football. Jesse Lingard's got J-Lings and he does this a bit. I'm just not accepting that he's ever.
Can I get a J-Lings from you? No.
I'm not accepting that Sterling hasn't ever done that, but he's gone about it the right way. Jesse Lingard just hasn't.
No, he's fantastic, and he's been one of, when we look back at the kind of the people who have changed football, I think he'll go down as one of the most iconic black footballers of all time. The way that he's combated the issue of racism, I think we'll look at him, up there with the likes of Cyril Regis, David Rocastle, Ian Wright, those kind of figures. I think it is so impressive what he's doing at such a young age, and I think those things do need to come into consideration. I know they probably don't, but do need to come into consideration when you talk about the Ballon d'Or, because it is for the best football player, and being a football player means so much more nowadays than what you just do on the pitch because of the globalisation of the game and the place that it holds in society. It's so important the way that you carry yourself off it, and I don't think many players do that better than Raheem Sterling. I've got your back, Raheem.
We've all got your back, Raheem.
You know where you can find us. Joe Gomez, mate, if you're watching, hands off my man.
Although, Joe Gomez, if you are watching and you fancy an interview, then we are free.
Yeah, I just do want to remain impartial. I'm going to record a kind of alternative
We've got to cut that.
Let's give me like a thing.
Okay.
Woo!
Oh,
That was poor from you.
that is bad.
Anyway, Joe Gomez, sorry.
Yeah.
Premier League executive, sorry. Should we get quizzical just because we need to kind of move on?
Okay, so I'm very sorry about that, everyone. Dan
just swore.
Poor from me.
We're going to get quizzical.
Yeah, I think in order to heighten my aggression, you're now going to lay down some quiz, which actually for the first week have been fairly adjudicated. It's
prepared.
It's a controlled process whereby we have quizzes now arranged for us. Apparently, we can't be trusted.
Yeah, to be
anymore.
fair, we are very. I'm very nasty.
So we've each got 5 here.
Do you want to do 5? Should we do 5?
Well, I think we should keep with the 3 just for the consistent format.
That was me told.
It's Wiseman football after all, isn't it?
Yeah, basically. Okay, we'll do 3.
So we'll do 3. So you choose 3. You can go first, and I'll go second because I'm in the dugouts.
And you won last week.
Yeah. Let's go.
Okay. So question number 1. Who scored for QPR in their 3-2 loss at the Etihad in 2012? I can't believe you just swore.
Don't distract me. Wasn't one of them? One of them was a chip, wasn't it? Was it Joey? No, Joey Barton got sent off.
I'm just wondering if I asked how they were scored or who scored.
Was it Jubal Cisse?
And?
I've got both.
Yeah.
Jubal Cisse and I don't even know if I can name another QPR player from that team.
Did they go down that season? No.
They're not.
Wasn't the Joe Sigler similar season?
I'm going to go Joe Barton.
That is incorrect. The answer is Jubal Cisse and Jamie Mackie. You don't get half point, we don't do half points. Okay, number 2. I forgot which question I was going to do. Oh, in Villa's first ever stint in the Premier League, the one that ended, in 1992 to 19... I'm assuming that means 93 and not 23. It does. 1992 to 1993, where did they finish?
Second.
Question number 3. Which club is known or are known as the Saglers?
Walsall.
Well, you've got 2 out of 3. I'm not. Tell you what, I'm preparing my own questions next.
There are some Stoke based questions in here. I'm just going to choose not to ask some. Okay. Where was the 2012 Community Shield played? It was Manchester City against Chelsea.
I can't see any reason that it wouldn't be played at Wembley.
Do you know? Would you like to know where it was played?
Yeah.
There.
Why?
I have no idea, but the 2012 Community Shield was played at Villa Park. I went to see it, if there's any consolation.
Why?
There it is. You can't see it, guys, but he's actually just Googled this. So apologies to Finn, the cameraman, because he doesn't actually believe.
Yeah, I don't understand what. Literally, it was the first time since 1973 that it hadn't been held at either Wembley or the Millennium Stadium. I don't understand. Okay, whatever.
Okay, question 3.
It's because the Olympics were on.
How many of the 20 MLS clubs are based in Canada?
Can I phone Gary Mellor and ask him?
Yes.
Toronto, Montreal Impact. 2.
You forgot the Vancouver Whitecaps.
Oh.
That's 3.
You've won them.
And to go for a clean sweep
Of 0.
Which French club?
Hold on, there's Stoke questions, and I asked you a Villa question.
Okay, I'll ask you a Stoke question.
Thank you.
You're going to know both of these, so you've got one.
This would be really good.
Where was Saido Berahino born? Country, I'm not accepting city.
Oh, Burundi.
There you are.
I thought you were going to ask me like what city he was born in. Yeah,
Well, see, I was going to put emphasis on born because, like, you might have a Sterling kind of situation where he was born in Jamaica. It comes to just try to confuse you. Hasn't worked.
Okay.
But again, ladies and gentlemen, that's 2 from 2, 2 from 2, 2 from 2.
Why do you keep swearing? Why do you swear at all to the camera?
I'm absolutely delighted, ladies and gentlemen.
I am not. I am going to ban Dan from the next episode for that language.
This is feeling good. I had the first 2 weeks where it didn't go over.
No, so you won the first one. We've had this discussion. You won the first ever
You
one.
need to keep tabs on this. We need to have someone like
independent adjudicator.
Yeah, to make sure that there's no. This was definitely a better format. I hope you guys agree.
If you don't tell us. That's it. We finished at Villa Park. It's been emotional.
It's been good. It's been
You
good.
enjoyed it?
I really have.
We enjoyed being at Villa Park.
Every single time I come here, I'm absolutely perplexed by the sheer beauty of it all.
I'm not. Right, listen, it's actually really nice inside, but outside it's not that great.
No, it's not. That's Birmingham for you then.
Thank you very much for watching. Thank you to Dan, as always. Thank you to Finn, our cameraman. We'll be back in, I don't know if I'm going to be a week or 2 weeks, we haven't made that decision yet. But we'll be back from the Etihad, I imagine, to talk some more news that isn't news. So thank you for watching. Make sure you like, comment, subscribe and share, and visit us at dawsonfootball.com for more fantastic content.